A quorum is present. I will now call this meeting to order. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. This meeting was called to consider the Level 3 parent-student grievance brought by Ms. Wamika Allen. Prior to the meeting, the complaint hearing, the board would like to consult with Attorney Lisa McBride, who is here tonight to advise the board regarding this complaint. The board will now go into executive session under Section 551.071 to consult with Ms. Lisa McBride concerning the Level 3 parent-student grievance. The board will then hear the complaint in closed session under Sections 551.074 and Sections 551.082. Beginning at 4:30 p.m., Ms. McBride will advise the board regarding all or parts of the complaint hearing conducted in closed session. Additionally, the board may reconvene in executive session under 551.071 at the time to consult with Ms. McBride. A closed or executive meeting of the board will now be held. The time is 4:31 p.m. Executive session is adjourned and the board is now in open session. The time is 5:48 p.m. I will entertain a motion on the level 3 appeal.
I, Noe Esparza, move that the board deny the complaint of Ms. Allen and uphold the administrative decision at level 2.
I, Norma Hernandez, second that motion.
A motion was made by Noe Esparza and second by Norma Hernandez. All in favor? And the motion carries 7-0 with no abstention. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 5:48 p.m. A quorum is present. I will now call this public hearing to order. The time is 5:48 p.m. Ben Poppy, Chief Financial Officer, will conduct the public hearing on the proposed budget and tax rate.
Good evening, President Garza, Board of Trustees, Dr. Moore. We are here for a public hearing with the budget and tax rate. We have about 6 or 7 slides, and there's nothing in these slides that you have not already seen in Budget Workshop 1 through 4. All right, so again, the budget and tax rate adoption process, we need to hold this public hearing. It's required by law. We did submit the notice to the North Channel Star, and the summary was put on the district website. It must be adopted by August 31st. And then we will recommend adoption later tonight in the board meeting this evening. And the proposed tax rate will be submitted at a later board meeting. No change to budget assumptions. This does assume disaster pennies of 3.799 cents. And enrollment projections as well. No change to these budget assumptions. And then again, thank you for the compensation package that the board approved a couple months ago. In the general fund budget, there is a deficit, no change from August 11th, just over 4.3 million budget deficit for the general fund. For food service fund, a slight surplus of about $379,000. Then the debt service budget that pays the bond payments is a balanced budget of just over 43 million. And any questions and any public comments, I will welcome at this time. Not seeing or hearing any. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poppy. The public hearing is adjourned and the time is 5:50 p.m. The meeting will the quorum is present and I will call the board workshop to order. It is now 5:50 p.m. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. I will now turn the floor over to Ed Martir, Director of Facilities Planning and Construction, and Manuel Torres, Senior Principal at PBK Architects, Inc., who will present the design development of Galena Park High School Phase 3 through 5.
President Garza, Board of Trustees, Dr. Moore, Cabinet, good evening. We are here to give you an update on a DD package for Galena Park High School. Manny, I'm going to turn it over to Manny Torres and his team.
Thank you, Mr. Martir. Dr. Moore, board members and administration, we are super excited to bring you the design development presentation for the master plan rebuild of the Galena Park High School. Before we dive into the presentation, I'm going to do a quick introduction. I think you met him at our April schematic design presentation, but I'll run through one more time. Jorge Tiscareño, our design director. We've got Darius Zacharakos, he's our lead designer. We got Isabella Esparza, technical designer and assistant project manager. Gloria Carlos, project manager for the project. And then Dana Cepeda, who's our senior interior designer. So this is our core team. This is the team that has been from the very beginning and will be there until we open and complete all phases of the work. So this is the design development, right? We were here in April. The work that has completed within the last 3.5 months has been a lot of development, further refinement of the architectural design. We had an opportunity to test some of the concepts that we developed and showed you back in schematic design, and really put some work into making sure that the spaces we were creating and all of the program that we developed and everything that we showed you back in April truly fit and truly tested what the project objectives were from the very beginning. So in addition to that, our engineers have been really engaged in the process. So a lot of what we've been developing the last few months is making the building real, right? We are a lot more intelligent in terms of all the building systems and how we're going to issue out the different packages. So there's going to be some things that look similar, but we can tell you that there's a lot of refinement and a lot of development in some of the imagery that you're going to see today. The agenda very similar to the schematic design as we did in April. We'll walk you through the master plan. We know that there's a construction phasing that's critical to how we complete the master plan, so we'll walk you through a couple of slides of that, and then we'll get into the design and show you some of our refinements. Really excited about how we've been able to develop the project. And we always got to talk about budget and schedule, right? So we'll round that out, and we've got a little surprise at the end of the presentation. So with that, I'm going to call Gloria Carlos.
Good evening. So we are now at the design development section of the project, right, phasing. So we have met through schematics and design development and refined those programming schematic developments. And we also have through the rest of the phases through construction documents and the construction phasing as well. You will see that the Dement field, sorry, excuse me, I'm a little nervous, but the field house at Dement, I wore my waterproof mascara, by the way. It's now in construction, so we've already had a kickoff meeting for that, and we're so excited, right, to kind of wrap up the rest of Galena Park High School and see that develop. Yeah. Okay. Here we just captured a lot of snapshots of the meetings that we've held with Galena Park staff and Mr. Ramirez, and of course with Galena Park Facilities Group. Just going through the schematic phases and design development. These were very important meetings that we held, and we wanted to hear what was needed and also go through the program and make sure that it all aligned and was, in the end, we developed the layouts that Jorge and his team will go through as well.
With that, we'll call Jorge. It's going to walk us through the master plan itself.
Yeah, thank you, Manny. Good evening. I'm very excited again to be here to design development. Like Manny said, I think a lot of the imagery, especially on the floor plan, is not going to look like it's a lot, but there's actually a lot of things behind it. And I think, like Manny is saying, not that you're going to see it here, but there's obviously a lot of structure. There's been a lot of code actually analysis. There's been a lot of infrastructure, the MEP, right, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So a lot of stuff, like Manny was saying, it's actually a lot of the bones and the infrastructure and kind of behind the scenes is already kind of happening. So like we were saying, we're kind of landing the plane. We're making this a little bit more real. So in the overall, this is the existing. So this is what you have right now, right? The first phases, as you guys know, number 1 and number 2. Number 1 was that 14 classroom addition that you guys kind of see at the top, kind of around with dash red line. And then obviously you guys know the existing dining commons, the kitchen, and the CT portion. That was phase number 2. Phase number 2 are actually of a much broader, extensive master planning that we had done. And then if you guys remember, Dr. Moore kind of, he was asking us about that multi-purpose facility. That got integrated into the whole design. We're still actually at the end, I think we have a very strong overall master plan that is pretty much what you saw last time. So it hasn't changed a lot. I can go kind of briefly. If you guys want to ask us any questions, please do. But I'll just go through it because overall the layout hasn't changed. So we have where the big red arrow is, right, to King Street, that's our main entry. We will have a little bit of an opportunity to create, again, that's more refinement now, but we do have a little bit of a drop-off lane. If you can see there, that's why it's going to push to one side. So you have a little bit of a drop-off for parents and for cars to come in, and a little bit of visitor parking now within actually the context of the high school, not necessarily only across. So that's a little bit better. You have a little bit of parking directly into the front entry. Then you kind of see the pieces, right? The administration in red, the media center there in blue. We still will continue with the same main corridor that is going from east to west here in plan, right? That's the big yellow line that you see there. And then on the left side, you'll see the fine arts and the auditorium. We have band toward way on the left. That's why we have one of the practice fields. That's where we think that it will be a great practice field for the band. And if you know, to Parkside Drive, there's a little bit of kind of like a peel off. That's actually for people to come in and actually park the big trailers for band, and then also for the scene shop for the back of the stage for the auditorium. Then on the top of that left side is also the continuation of fine arts. We have dance and some of the additional spaces for a band, orchestra, and some of the, choir and some of the other spaces. And then that 14 classroom addition on the first level is going to be renovated for art labs on the first level, and then some additional labs on the second level. So we are going to keep it. We're tying the rest of the school, as you can see here. And then way on the left, we have the 2 practice fields, like we mentioned. I think for now, the Lilly Center is still going to stay. We are going to keep that pedestrian bridge so people can actually, students can cross over from the new high school to the Lilly Center. And then way on the left, the little kind of says the batting cages. I think that's probably the only thing that wasn't there from last time. So we will have the batting cages within kind of the campus of the high school. Same thing, like you know where the cafeteria is, the career technical center, the multi-purpose there, kind of that light cyan blue. And then we have all the classrooms surrounding it with special ed on that side. And then we do have, if you remember, we have a separation from the athletics. That's kind of the farthest on the right, the kind of the orange, because that easement there, I think we're calling the Paseo now, it's actually now better developed with our landscape architects. But there we have a big easement there that we couldn't build anything on top of it. So we're actually making the most of it, and we also have a bridge that connects on the second level as well, but we're actually utilizing it to make something that is actually part of the high school and is going to be fenced off on either side, so you have a lot of protection and security for the students to come and go in an enclosed, secure environment. And then, like Gloria was mentioning, we have the men field, and then we started already construction on the field house. Second level, because it's going to be a 3-level, and mostly on the classroom academic wing, but we still have the second level on the CTE side that's already existing. You guys have it there. And then we are actually making connections from that CTE, the big kind of corridor, toward the new academic wing that is surrounding that multipurpose. And then way on the top of the academic, where you see they're kind of all in white, but then you see a yellow line way on the top, we are proposing to have a bridge that actually connects us to this level. So if you're way on the backside and you need to kind of crisscross, you don't need to come down or come all the way back. You can actually crisscross in the second level from east to west of those 2 wings of the classroom kind of wings. And then, on the fine arts, again, that 14 classroom addition, we are going to have a little bit of fine arts in some additional classrooms. Again, we're not going to remove it, so we're actually utilizing that existing classroom addition as part of the whole high school. And then third level, pretty simple, it's actually kind of the same thing. Now it's actually, this is the only part of this 3 levels, again, surrounding the multipurpose. And if you see the changing colors, because now this is all going to be science. So we'll have biology, physics, and chemistry, and we tend to put, actually this is also by talking to the principal and to the administration, we put science on the third level because of the exhaust fumes and the exhaust hoods that we have, because we'll have the fume hoods on, especially on chemistry and biology, and you know, you have those beautiful rockets that are sticking on the roof, so that's why we kind of push it to the third level. And that's pretty much the overall master plan, and like I said, we didn't change a lot, but there's way more development. And the guys are going to go through more, and Isa's going to go through the construction phase.
Thank you. I just kind of wanted to make note that as we've been learning and dissecting more about the site, the systems, the building, we have added some subphases, and I'll point those out right now. As Gloria mentioned previously, we are now starting construction in our phase 3A, our field house planned south of the men field in this drawing. And one of our subphases will be phase 3D, which will be our new batting cages next to the Lilly Center. Once we finish this, this will open up our existing field house for us to be able to start phase 3B, which will be our new athletics complex that will include our competition gym, as well as our multi-purpose building that's going to be surrounded by core academic classrooms, special education, and library. And once we finish this phase, we're practically good to demo the rest of the existing high school and finalize our master plan with phase 4, our fine arts auditorium, administration wing, as well as our practice fields.
Then Darius is going to walk us through some of the refinements on the exterior design. So with that, Darius.
Thank you, Manny. I'm really excited to share with you guys some new visualization. As you can see from the cover image, we've had a lot of refinement when it comes to the exterior elevations. We've been working really closely with the district, and we've gotten feedback from them. With that feedback, we've developed the design with a focus on bringing a little bit more warmth with our exterior materials, and also bringing a little bit more of a human scale to the exterior. We're going to start by orienting ourselves with this aerial view. So you can see in the foreground is actually that existing parking lot across from the current entry of Galena Park High School off of Keene Street. On the far right of this image, you'll see the Arthur C. Lilly building, where, as mentioned earlier, we'll be relocating those batting cages, and those will be adjacent to the tennis fields. Spanning 11th Street is that what is currently a skywalk, which will become a pedestrian traffic crossing. And then beyond these two new practice fields, you will have a secondary entry to Main Street, which also gives you access to the Fine Arts Wing. The Fine Arts Wing will extend from that existing 14 classroom wing addition that will be renovated all the way to the auditorium, the new auditorium off of Parkside Drive. In the center of this image, you'll see the new visitor drop-off, parking, and main entry. And through that main entry, you'll enter into a shared lobby between the Phase 2 existing CTE dining commons and the new auditorium. The media center is located between that 3-story classroom wing and multipurpose building and between the main entry. And then beyond that 3-story classroom and multipurpose building, you'll see the athletics complex that is detached adjacent to Dement Field. And then at the top of the image, you'll see the new field house at the end of Dement Field. This image is just the main view from Keene Street, where you can see that 3-story addition as well as the main entry and the media center. You can see some of the development that we've gone through with the district was to add clerestory windows into the multipurpose to just bring as much light as possible into that space. And we explored a variety of options to achieve the best result with that. This is another view of that multipurpose and academic wing facade from the opposite end of Keene Street. This is a view of the main entry directly from the visitors parking lot, and you can also see we've developed some of the landscaping around that area. This is another view of that area where you can see the entry canopy, the 1.5-height security vestibule, as well as in the background, that double-height media center. And then in this wider shot of that visitors parking, you can see in the bottom right corner, actually an art courtyard that's been fenced in. Here's an enlarged view of that art courtyard with a hexagonal shading structure. That area will be accessed directly from the 14 classroom wing addition. And then here's another view from Keene Street looking towards the athletics complex, and you can see in the background the 3-story classroom wing addition and the multi-purpose facility. This is the lobby that will directly lead into the competition gym, and there's parking across the street, existing parking, where the public will be able to access it from. Now we're in that paseo that on top of the easement between the two buildings. You can see in the background that existing CTE canopy, as well as the skywalk that Jorge mentioned to assist circulation from the classrooms to the athletics complex. This area will feature gathering space as well as low maintenance planting, and like Jorge said, it'll be gated and fenced off for security. And then this is a view of that multi-purpose facility interior. Here we're showing a robotics event, but we've been working really closely with the district and getting ideas from the faculty on all sorts of activities for education and student development that can happen in this space. You can also see on that back wall that we're facing towards Keene Street, that second level walkway to assist in circulation. And here's a section view of that same space to better understand the relationship to the classrooms. You can also see the two sets of digital screens and balconies to help augment that space for holding events. And then here's just another aerial to better understand the relationship between Dement Field and that new athletics complex. And another aerial to sort of show where the Lilly building sits in relationship to those new fields. And then this is a view of the Lilly Building parking lot showing the batting cages. And this is an enlarged view of those same batting cages and locker rooms. Finally, the fieldhouse exterior. Like Gloria mentioned, this is the first thing that's going to show up on campus. And now I'll turn it over for Diana for the interior design.
Well, I want to say thank you for having me. I'm excited to show you what the team has actually built in regards to the interiors of the new Galena Park High School. This first view is your auditorium lobby, and as you can see towards the back, that would be your main entrance there. This is actually walking into what your existing entrance is right outside the dining commons. Right now, we are extending that same terrazzo we did in the dining throughout the stairs, as you see, with the combination of wood to kind of warm up that space, frame it out, and kind of give it its own identity. Here's another view kind of facing towards where the fine arts corridor is going to be. What you see kind of behind that honeycomb translucent wall would be our history hall, which you'll later on see an up-close rendering of what we are preparing for y'all there. Here is actually kind of walking in through the main entrance of the school, and you see here in comparison where the existing cafeteria is. We will be opening up that wall so you could kind of see open both spaces up. And we are using kind of the same symmetry that we used in phase 2, the same terrazzo throughout, kind of extending it through the auditorium lobby as well as the main street, the ceiling clouds, and kind of playing with the same ceiling fixtures as well. This is the inside of the auditorium. So here we are playing with kind of warming up, I guess bringing in the warmth of the woods on the walls and kind of giving it a ribbon effect with lighting, LED lighting along with it. What you see on the back wall, it's just kind of giving that hive, implementing that hive design that we kind of have consistent through the whole Galena Park project. And you'll see it in the Spirit School colors as well. And then your seating throughout. This is a view of your large stage, which is framed with the contrast proscenium. And kind of it gives you another view of what the side walls will look like with the LED strip lighting. This is the Hall of Honor. So here, of course, we are actually extending the same flooring throughout. This is just a great way to illustrate the history of Galena Park High School, a way to kind of illustrate memorabilia and, you know, the important facts, importance of what Galena Park is to everyone. I think this is a great way to kind of bring in the community into this project. And what actually that double door you see on the far back, that actually leads you into your fine arts corridor. Here's just another view of it. So we called it the timeless jacket for our rendering. And so we do have a lot of cove lighting to kind of warm up the space. You see it on the floor on the perimeter as well.
No phones. You got a kid picture. No phones.
Oh, you know what?
That was probably before the session.
We got to sign him up. I'm
Before
going
the
to sign him up.
Yeah,
I'm
before the
going to let
session.
him know. I'm going to let him know.
That was
Yeah.
before the session.
Good point. Very good point. This is actually your media center. Here on this side of the space, you see kind of a second floor computer lab, which is kind of be used as a flex, you know, an extra conference area, gathering area. You have kind of the stairs that lead up to it. In addition to that, you have kind of a two-tier kind of learning step, just kind of to give students different places to kind of gather, relax a little, read, do homework, quiet spaces. You see the same thing kind of going throughout the honeycomb in our ceiling acoustical panels as well as on our walls. This is the view of the opposite wall, right across it, which is kind of the portal to your makerspace area. And then right outside of your library, kind of walking towards what would be your athletic and kind of walking towards what is currently the CTE, you have your kind of multi-purpose main entrance off of the main street. And here you could actually see what's on the right, it's what's existing. That's your CTE right now. So kind of illustrates of what our intentions are to kind of open that area and make it as open as we can into the new addition. So here you kind of have that same portal, a chamfer kind of style portal that you'll see throughout. It says consistent on the design. And of course, bringing in the gold and black in our acoustical panels and a few design elements. Here's another view of it. This is actually the door closest to your athletic building, and it's facing towards kind of your entrance library. Oh, and another thing that I want to point out on this one, it actually shows one of the bridges that will connect the CTE on the second floor to what the new classroom wings are going to be. This is a little collab flex classroom area. You're going to have about three to six of these in the multi-purpose on every floor where the classroom wing connects to the multi-purpose, and it's just kind of a little extra space for teaching, for conducting any kind of assignments or illustrations. So you kind of see a little bit of the inside of the multi-purpose in this one here. Into our athletic building, here you see the grand Spirit Yellow Jacket Gold. This is, once again, we stayed kind of with that Anger chamfer styled portals throughout. This is definitely the best place to bring as much as the Spirit colors as you can, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. You see the Galena Park logo as on terrazzo on the flooring there. And then this is kind of just an up close of it. So our intent is to kind of add some backlights to the yellow jacket so you could kind of see them from the exterior. And then you see an up close of what we're proposing, the Galena Park logo on the floor. And then this is a great location, as you see there, for kind of a display trophy case to show more memorabilia of Galena Park. And of course, we couldn't leave our hexagons behind, so we did kind of illustrate it in the light fixture in this setting. Inside of our competition gym, once again, the gold and black, home of the Yellow Jackets. And this is actually the field house, the weight room in the field house and academic field. It kind of shows you a view facing the back wall. You kind of see a little bit of the hexagon, how we tied everything. This is the first place we started at, because this is the first one that's going in construction. So we just kind of carry those same hexagon elements to kind of give us the hive, implement hives throughout the rest of the school. So this is kind of where it all began for the interiors. And this is another view. You kind of see that mirror wall on the back, a little close-up of that. And then you see a lot of visibility there. I know one thing was that the coaches wanted to have as much visible areas into the weight room. So you kind of see the glazing on the second floor as well.
We do want to touch on project budget and schedule rather quickly, and then we'll finish out the presentation with an animation. So as we develop through the design development, again, we've become a lot more intelligent in terms of all the pieces, all the packages that we're going to have to issue. Working with Ed and his team, and of course our Rice and Gardner team as well, we've been able to take the overall budget and really work on developing the series of packages for both phases 3 and 4. And as Isabella mentioned, right, we are now a lot more intelligent about this, so we are now able to break that down into individual, what we'll call sub-phases or sub-packages, but still very much in 2 remaining phases, 3 and 4. All of that totaling up with the same allocated budget of $225. We're off to a great start. Thanks to Ed and his team. We had great participation in the field house in terms of those bids. Just historically, right, we bid projects here with just 2 to 3 bids. We had 15 bidders at the table, so fantastic news on that. I think that's something you approved at the last board meeting. So we're off to a great start. We hope to keep that momentum and keep the competition rolling as we procure the other packages. Okay.
This is just an overall schedule from working through schematic design and design development and now through construction documents. We've checked off items we've already met, and with the new field house being in construction, we do have other also sub packages that are currently in progress, like the athletics and academic package, as well as the new batting cages. And then following that will be the fine arts and auditorium. This here is just an outline of the construction administration phase, where we are starting off with the field house and having a construction start now and with substantial completion next year in June, so that it's ready for an August start. And as you can see, there's a little bit of out of order with our 3C, but that is mostly an equipment package to get those, there's lead times for some of this HVAC systems, so we wanted to go ahead and make sure that we prepare that. And we should be receiving bids this week. Following that will be the new batting cages. We hope to have those wrapped up at the end of the year, and then start construction in around December, January, with a mid-2026 substantial completion. And with a 3B, which is the addition that's going to the CTE, we would like to start the construction in March and be substantially completed in June of 2027, with first day of school in August of 2027. Following that will be phase 4, fine arts and auditorium, and then this would be the last phase for the completion of the master plan, with the start construction in June of 2027, with substantial completion in May 2029, with first day of school in August 2029. So a lot of these, yes, they kind of overlap, but they're very critical how we start and do substantial completion so that we can kick off the next phasing.
So with that, we'll round it out with a little intervention. with that, we open it up for any questions you might have.
Wow. I don't want to mess this up because this is just fabulous. But I do have a question about the Arthur C. Lilly building. What is that bridge? It's going over the practice fields, but what will it connect to? Where is it going?
Absolutely. So the bridge that is in the renderings and in the drawings, it's the existing bridge.
Okay.
Right. So what we would do is on the high school side, right, on the what we call the field side.
Right.
We'll do some modifications there and essentially create a new receiving tower, if that makes sense, and then create a new staircase to essentially terminate the bridge on the field side. So a little bit of an enhancement. There's been some conversation about also what can we do to the bridge itself, right? So you're going to have a brand new facility, so maybe there's a way that we can dress it up and do some minor repairs to the bridge so that it looks in line with everything else that we're building. So, but it is essentially the bridge that is currently there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just there yesterday, and I see it. I'm real excited. And one more thing. For Lilly, it's Lilly.
Okay. We'll definitely get that correct.
Definitely.
Any other questions?
I'd just like to say great job. Everything is so thoughtful, and I can't wait to see the end result. So great job, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It's we showed a couple of images where really are collaborative sessions. A lot of times you may meet during design. Well, we're very purposeful in that we continue to hold meetings even as we're doing the construction documents because there's nothing we don't want to go through over and over to make sure that it's exactly what we want. So we're going to continue to meet, and it's been fantastic meeting with Mr. Ramirez and his staff, and we look forward to continuing those meetings to refine those things.
I also want to say you can tell there's been a lot of work done, a lot of detail, everything, and I'm really glad you're preserving the history because that's what Galena Park is about. That little community, just Galena Park itself, is full of history.
That's fantastic. You know, the little museum space, we had a placeholder for what we wanted to call it, but you really need a committee to figure out what do you want to name it, how do you want to curate the material. A lot of times we incorporate some digital displays where you can do searches, and it's more of an interactive digital museum. I know artifacts are so nice to have in there, but anyway, there's a lot more to develop on that sense, but just creating that museum space that we felt was an important part of that.
I'm excited for the auditorium. I have two girls that I've been to many choir concerts there, and it's very sad looking, so I'm excited. I have two girls that'll see this to fruition, so.
Thank you for that. We're excited.
I want to thank you guys for incorporating the baseball fields because I remember the team meeting, the community input from the staff. There was a request for some baseball fields. Obviously, we were landlocked there, so it's not possible. But thank you for the baseball fields. One question: I know there was I think maybe the softball teacher had asked for at least an infield. What was the discussion around that?
No, absolutely. So that is still part of the process. That is in the future phase. But one of the things that we talked about with athletics and Mr. Ramirez is we could do an infield practice field on those two football fields that you see there, right? So we would take a corner and stripe it accordingly so that you can utilize it for both baseball and softball infield practice. Yeah. That's still very much part of the initial concept.
I just want to say thank you. I know there's a couple of us here that, Galena Parks was home for us for me and Noe for 4 years, and for Norma for, 100 years, I think. Norma was there when that was Miss H for me because I was a freshman. I think she had just started the year before, so I've known Miss H for the longest of time, and I think the whole community is excited. I still go to church right across the street. I still wear my. So it's exciting not just for not just for the school district, not just for our kids, but it's also exciting for the community. I mean, this is by far the best thing going in Galena Park. And I just want to say thank you, especially to all the team, everybody even the team that's not here, because I know it's a whole lot more. I want to just, just tell them thank you and thanks for looking out and, making Galena Park High School probably the best school now in our district. And thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Mr. Garza.
It means a lot, Manny. I just want to reiterate, it's, our alma mater, and I almost got a little bit teary-eyed watching that very last part where you're flying us through the school, and it looks amazing. I can truly tell that you guys are passionate about making sure that you cover every detail and that you make it just as perfect as possible. So thank you and your team for that.
No, thank you for that. And we mentioned this at schematic design, right? When you're on a project that you know is going to be impactful to not just the principal, the staff, and the students, but the community, it's so much fun for us to be working on projects like this. So we're excited. Any other questions?
No.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Martir, and thank you, Manny Torres. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 6:30 p.m. A quorum is present. I will now call the special meeting to order. The Board of Trustees of Galena Park Independent School District is now convening a special meeting on Tuesday, August 26, 2025, in the Administration Building at Galena Park Independent School District, the address of which is 14705 Wood Forest Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77015. The time is 6:31 p.m. I want to welcome the members of the audience to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As Galena Park I.S.D. Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budget, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policies for the district. It is not the role of the board to make the day-to-day operation decisions. The management and the day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is the public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to the meeting, board members receive information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of the meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for the meeting as permitted by Section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in a silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in Galena Park Independent School District. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. Jared Link, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resource Services, will present the district policy DEC local compensation and benefit leaves in absence for the first and final reading.
All right. Well, it's kind of hard to follow that with a policy update, So, all right. Good evening, President Garza, Dr. Moore, members of the board, cabinet, Ms. Valdez. We only have one policy in front of you tonight, DEC local. DEC local, let's see here. Okay. DEC local deals with leaves and absences. And this is only a portion of DEC local. We're going to make one stipulation to it. So an employee who retires from the district can be paid out for accumulated leave that they still have. And you see below there at the bottom, that's the chart. So, and we won't go through that individually, but they can be paid out $100 a day up to a certain number of days, depending on how many years they've been in the district. The one stipulation that we're going to make is that the employee in the last year when they retire cannot use more than 20 local or state days to qualify to be paid out for the accumulated leave. That's the only stipulation we're making to the policy, okay? Any questions about that? And I'll go back to that screen. Any questions?
No question. Thank you, Mr. Link.
Thank you.
We will now move on to new business. Is there a motion to approve revised to district policy DEC local compensation and benefit leaves and absence at the first and final reading?
I, Amanda Arabia, move we approve revisions to district policy DEC local as presented.
I, Norma Hernandez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Amanda Arabia and second by Norma Hernandez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with no abstention. Is there a motion to approve the general consent agenda?
I, Jose Jimenez, move we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
I, Amanda Arabia, second the motion.
A motion was made by Jose Jimenez and second by Amanda Arabia. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with no abstentions. Is there a motion to approve the construction consent agenda?
I, Noe Esparza, move we approve the construction consent agenda as presented.
I, Adrian Stevens, second the motion.
A motion was made by Noe Esparza and second by Amanda Arabia. All in favor?
Adrian.
Oh, I'm sorry. Adrian Stevens, all in favor? The motion is carried with 7-0 with no abstention. I can't even read my own writing. Sorry, Adrian. With respect to the financial consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Norma Hernandez, move we approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
I, Amanda Arabia, second the motion.
A motion was made by Norma Hernandez and second by Amanda Arabia. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with no abstention. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 6:36 p.m.